What if the secret to making your apartment feel bigger wasn't about getting rid of things, but simply switching 2 rooms? For years, her bedroom felt cramped and suffocating, while the living room overflowed with clutter. But today, everything changes. In the next few minutes, you'll see how one simple switch completely transformed her NYC apartment and, more importantly, her peace of mind. Because sometimes it's not about how much space you have, but how you use it. And if you've ever felt like your home is working against you instead of supporting you, this might be the shift you've been waiting for. Small apartments can sometimes feel like they're closing in on us. The bedroom feels too cramped. The living room becomes overstuffed. And instead of offering rest and comfort, our home turns into a source of stress. Many of us reach a point where we stop enjoying our space and start feeling trapped by it. If you've ever walked through your front door and felt an instant wave of overwhelm instead of relief, you are not alone. So many people, especially in cities, struggle with this exact challenge. The good news? It doesn't always take a renovation or a big budget to create a change. Sometimes it just takes a fresh perspective, a willingness to shift things around, and a simple plan that makes your home feel open, calming, and supportive again. And that's exactly what we're about to show you. Today, we're helping her completely reimagine her space, not by buying expensive furniture or starting a renovation, but by simply switching the bedroom and the living room. It sounds small, but this change can completely alter the way a home feels. By the end of this transformation, you'll see how a fresh layout can instantly create more comfort, more freedom, and a sense of breathing room, even in a tiny NYC apartment. And along the way, we'll uncover a few surprises, including one meaningful item that had been hiding under her bed for years. This simple shift isn't just about moving furniture. It's about rediscovering the potential in your home and proving that with a little creativity, any space can feel brand new again. Step 1. Clear and assess. The very first step in transforming any home is to clear and assess. Before making a single decision about where furniture should go or how the rooms should function, we start by giving ourselves a clean slate. And that begins with surfaces. It's amazing how much clutter hides in plain sight on nightstands, coffee tables, countertops, and shelves. We often stop noticing the little piles because they've been there so long. But the truth is, these small distractions quietly drain our energy every single day. So we begin by removing everything that doesn't belong. Papers, unopened mail, half-read magazines, empty glasses. Each item tells a story of unfinished business. And while it might seem insignificant, every small item takes up mental space. By clearing them, we give ourselves permission to reset, to breathe, and to see the room not as it was, but as it could be. As we work through the surfaces, a pattern begins to emerge. Many of the things we set down just for now ended up becoming permanent fixtures. It's a reminder that clutter often isn't intentional. It sneaks in little by little, until one day we realize how much it's weighing us down. This is why clearing isn't just about tidying. It's about regaining awareness of what's really serving us and what isn't. Now comes the part most people overlook: under the furniture. Before moving anything, it's essential to check those hidden spaces that quietly collect the forgotten and the neglected. And under the bed is the biggest culprit of all. For many of us, it becomes the ultimate storage unit, a place to stash away whatever we don't want to deal with. Shoes, boxes, bags, even long-forgotten belongings can all end up tucked out of sight. But here's the truth. Just because it's out of sight doesn't mean it's out of mind. As we lifted the first corner of the bed and began to pull things out, we discovered items she hadn't seen in years. Some were practical, extra blankets, a few old shoes. But then came the surprise. Nestled deep beneath a stack of boxes, we found something meaningful, something she thought had been lost for good. It stopped us in our tracks. It was more than just an object. It was a memory, a piece of her story hidden away and forgotten. And in that moment, we were reminded that decluttering isn't just about clearing space. It's about reconnecting with the pieces of life that truly matter. This discovery set the tone for the entire transformation. Because when you come face to face with both the clutter that no longer serves you and the treasures you didn't realize you still had, you begin to see your space in a completely new way. Every item becomes a choice. Will it continue to weigh you down? Or will it help you create the kind of home you want to live in? By the time the surfaces were cleared and the hidden spaces were uncovered, the rooms already felt different. Lighter, more open. The switch hadn't even begun, yet there was already a shift in energy. That's the power of simply clearing and assessing before making any big changes. It shows us that the foundation of a calmer, more functional home doesn't start with buying more or rearranging furniture. It starts with facing what we already have, choosing intentionally, and making room for possibility. And remember, decluttering isn't about perfection. It's not about creating a picture-perfect apartment that looks like it belongs in a magazine. It's about making small, realistic changes that make daily life easier and more peaceful. Clearing surfaces and checking under the bed might seem simple, but these steps are powerful because they set the stage for everything that comes next. Without this reset, switching the rooms would just be moving clutter from one space to another. But with this foundation, we're not just moving furniture. We're transforming the way the space feels and functions. And as you'll see, the surprises we uncovered here became more than just forgotten belongings. They became reminders of why this process matters, and why reimagining your home isn't just about the physical space. It's about emotional freedom too. And just wait, because this first step was only the beginning. Step 2, the big move. This is the moment of transformation, the big move. The part where everything starts to shift. Not just physically, but emotionally too. Up until now, the apartment felt stuck. The bedroom was too cramped. The living room too crowded. And no matter how much tidying she did, it never felt right. But by making the choice to switch the rooms, she's doing more than rearranging furniture. She's reclaiming control over her space and her comfort. The heavy lifting begins with intention. Moving furniture isn't just about sliding a bed from one room to another. It's about asking yourself, what do I really need from this space? A bedroom isn't only for sleep, it's for rest, recovery, and a sense of retreat. A living room isn't just for seating, it's where you welcome others, where you enjoy conversation, where you want to feel open and connected. When those purposes get mixed up, it leaves us feeling unsettled in our own homes. Switching the rooms realigns those needs. Piece by piece, the furniture begins to move. Each item carries weight, not only in pounds, but in the memories and emotions tied to it. That old dresser that's been in the corner for years. The sofa that never quite fit the way it should. As each piece is lifted and carried into a new space, it feels like a reset, almost like giving the furniture a second life. Suddenly, the home no longer feels rigid or unchangeable. It feels adaptable, alive, and full of new possibilities. There's something empowering about physically shifting the energy in a home. When we move furniture, we move ourselves. We move out of old habits and into new ways of living. The simple act of placing a bed against a different wall can change how light enters the room in the morning. Shifting a sofa can make conversation feel warmer, closer, more inviting. These changes ripple through daily life, affecting mood, energy, and even the way we connect with others. And yes, it's work. It takes effort, and sometimes it feels easier to leave things as they are, even when we know they aren't working. But this is where transformation truly happens, in the decision to do the hard work now in exchange for lasting comfort later. Each push and pull, each adjustment of furniture placement, is a step toward a home that feels aligned, functional, and supportive. As the rooms begin to take shape, there's a visible shift in the energy of the apartment. The The old bedroom suddenly opens up as a welcoming living area, no longer burdened by a bed that consumed too much space. The new bedroom, now placed where the living room once was, feels brighter, calmer, and more intentional. It's not just about size, it's about fit. And sometimes, the room you thought was meant for one purpose actually serves you better in a completely different way. But perhaps the most powerful part of the big move is the symbolism. By switching the rooms, she's showing herself that it's never too late to change what isn't working. Too often, we settle into routines that don't serve us, simply because that's the way things have always been. We tell ourselves it's too much trouble, or that change won't make a difference. But as this process proves, change, even as simple as moving a bed or sofa, can be life-changing. It's a reminder that our environment is within our control, and when we take charge of it, we create space not only in our homes, but also in our minds. By the end of the move, there's a sense of lightness, of possibility. The hardest part is behind her. The furniture is in its new place, and already the rooms are beginning to feel more balanced. What was once cramped now feels expansive. What once felt cluttered now feels purposeful. And though the work was physical, the reward is deeply emotional. This isn't just a new arrangement. It's the beginning of a new chapter in how she experiences her home every single day. This big move is proof that sometimes the most powerful transformations don't come from adding more, but from rethinking what we already have. And the results? They speak for themselves. But we're not done yet. The next step is where the magic really comes together, because once the rooms are switched, it's time to redesign the flow and make this space truly shine. Step 3. Redesign and flow. It's not about square footage. It's about flow. And flow is what truly determines how a space feels. You can have the largest apartment in the world, but if the furniture is placed without thought, it will feel cluttered and uncomfortable. On the other hand, even the smallest space can feel expansive and welcoming when the flow is right. With the rooms now switched, the real transformation begins, redesigning how each space works. In the new bedroom, the placement of the bed is the first decision, and it's more powerful than many people realize. Instead of being tucked against a wall where it felt boxed in, the bed is now positioned where sunlight naturally fills the room each morning. That simple shift changes everything. Waking up to light instead of shadows sets the tone for the entire day. It brings energy, calmness, and a sense of connection to the world outside. A bedroom should always feel like a retreat, and in this new layout, it finally does. Then comes the living area. The goal here is not to cram in as much seating as possible, but to create flow, a space where conversation feels natural, where movement isn't blocked, and where the eye can travel without interruption. By repositioning the sofa and chairs to face each other instead of being pressed against the walls, the room instantly feels more open. Suddenly, the space invites connection instead of resistance. It feels like a room you want to linger in. This is the secret of flow. Every object has an energy, and when those objects work with you instead of against you, the entire space feels lighter. That doesn't come from expensive decor or buying more things. It comes from rearranging what you already own with intention. A side table in the right spot becomes useful instead of cluttered. A lamp in a corner brings warmth instead of darkness. Even walking through the room feels different. No more bumping into furniture. No more awkward gaps that serve no purpose. Every step feels easier, smoother, calmer. And here's where the emotional shift happens. When the flow of a space supports us, it changes the way we feel inside of it. Instead of walking into a room and immediately noticing what's wrong, you walk in and feel at peace. Instead of tension, you feel relief. That's why flow matters so much. It's not just about aesthetics. It's about well-being. For her, the difference is dramatic. The new bedroom finally feels restful, with enough openness to breathe and enough light to feel alive. The new living area feels balanced and welcoming. no longer overcrowded with furniture that didn't belong. These changes are small on paper, but in practice they transform daily life. They affect the way mornings begin, the way evenings wind down, and the way she enjoys her home every single day. And here's the key takeaway. You don't need a bigger apartment to feel like you live in one. You don't need to spend thousands on new furniture or renovations. What you need is a willingness to rethink the way your rooms are used. By focusing on flow, on how you move through the space, how light enters, how furniture connects, you can create a home that feels more spacious, more supportive, and more joyful. It's not about perfection. It's about alignment. When your home is aligned with your needs, it stops being a source of stress and starts being a source of peace. And that's the kind of transformation worth every ounce of effort. Now, with the flow redesigned and the spaces finally working for her instead of against her, the apartment feels brand new. But there's still one more step to make this transformation complete, because during this process, we stumbled upon a surprising item hidden away, and it carries a story that will remind us why decluttering and reimagining our homes is about so much more than furniture. Step 4. The surprise find. Sometimes decluttering brings back memories we didn't even realize we had lost. When we think of clutter, we usually picture piles of paper, overstuffed drawers, or things we no longer use. But tucked in between those items are often pieces of our own story, moments we've forgotten, reminders of the life we've lived. And it's in these moments of discovery that decluttering shifts from being just a physical task to something deeply emotional. As we continued moving and sorting, we came across something she hadn't seen in years. It wasn't valuable in terms of money, but in terms of meaning, it was priceless. It was a small, unexpected item, one that instantly pulled her back to another time. For her, it was a memory of family, of love, of a part of her journey she thought was gone forever. The look on her face said it all. It was as if this forgotten piece had been waiting for her, quietly tucked away, until the moment she was ready to find it again. This is the gift hidden inside decluttering. We don't just clear space, we reconnect with ourselves. We get the chance to hold something in our hands and ask, does this still belong in my life? Sometimes the answer is no, and letting go brings freedom. Other times the answer is yes, and holding on to it reminds us of who we are and what matters most. That choice between release and remembrance is what makes the process so powerful. And here's the truth. As we get older, these moments become even more meaningful. Every photograph, every letter, every keepsake carries a weight of memory that can't be measured. It's why decluttering can feel overwhelming. We're not just sorting through things. We're sorting through parts of ourselves. But that's also why it's so important. Because by choosing intentionally, by deciding what deserves space in our homes, we also decide what deserves space in our hearts. For her, finding that one special item was a reminder that her home isn't just a collection of walls and furniture. It's a place that holds her history, her memories, and her future. That's why this process isn't about stripping a space bare, it's about creating room for what matters most. When the unnecessary is cleared away, the treasures stand out. They finally have the room to be appreciated instead of buried. And here's something powerful to remember. These discoveries don't happen when we avoid the clutter. They only happen when we face it. That's why clearing, switching, and redesigning the flow of a home is so transformative. Because somewhere in the middle of the dust and the forgotten boxes, you might uncover something that changes the way you feel about your space, and even about yourself. This step, the surprise find, was more than just a moment of nostalgia. It was a reminder of why we do this. We don't declutter just to make a room look nicer. We do it to make space for peace, for clarity, and for joy. We do it to reconnect with the parts of life that really matter, and to release the things that no longer serve us. And for her, that one small discovery under the bed shifted everything. It wasn't just about switching. the rooms anymore. It was about realizing that her home could still surprise her, still remind her of who she is, and still give her the gift of connection. So as you think about your own home, remember this: decluttering isn't just about letting go. It's also about finding again, finding space, finding peace, and sometimes finding a memory that reminds you just how rich your life already is. And that's the kind of treasure worth uncovering. For her, the bedroom always felt like a box she was trapped in, cramped, dark, and heavy. But after the switch, it finally became a retreat, a place where she could exhale, rest, and feel truly at home. And that's something every one of us deserves, no matter how small the space we live in. Especially as we get older, our surroundings carry even more weight. The energy of a room can lift us up or quietly wear us down. A cluttered home leaves us feeling drained, but a thoughtfully arranged one gives us peace, strength, and comfort. This transformation wasn't about money or square footage. It was about creating an environment that supported her instead of suffocating her. And that's a reminder for all of us. Our homes should be a reflection of the life we want, not a source of stress. With a little intention, even the smallest space can become a sanctuary. What once felt cluttered, overwhelming, and almost unlivable now feels open, calm, and full of light. By simply switching 2 rooms, her apartment suddenly feels twice the size. It's not magic, it's perspective. Sometimes we don't need more space. We just need to use the space we already have differently. This transformation is proof that small, thoughtful changes can create a powerful shift in daily life. The new bedroom feels like a retreat, filled with air and sunlight, while the living area finally invites connection instead of stress. And here's the deeper truth: this isn't just about moving furniture. It's about giving yourself room to breathe, to rest, and to feel supported by the home you live in. When our environment works with us instead of against us, everything feels lighter, and that's a change worth making. Now I'd love to hear from you. What's one change you've always wanted to try in your home? Share it in the comments below, and I might cover it in a future video. Your ideas not only inspire me, but they also help others in this community see what's possible in their own homes. And if this transformation inspired you, give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more simple wins that make life after 60 lighter, brighter, and a little more joyful. Because creating a home that supports you doesn't have to be overwhelming. It just takes small, intentional steps, and together, we'll keep discovering them.